Welcome back to Light Skinema podcast. This is episode 25, where today we're talking about Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse, which is both of me and Jthon, some of our favorite films ever. I enjoyed a lot, but of course, before we get into it, Jthon, what's been going on?
You know, I'm in the last month of school right now, and I just can't emphasize more the importance of self-care and not burning yourself out, because I think this has been a very weird last month, but also very fun, don't get me wrong. But I think doing
Weird because it's ending.
Weird because it's ending, and weird because school has been a part of both of our lives for nearly 22 years now. So it's like I'm receiving this this idea in my head that, like, wow, this huge pillar in my life is about to get knocked down. And so I just think it's important to realize how much hours you're putting into work, whether it's school, the gym, it could be anything. And realizing that it's important to take care of yourself and just not to overload yourself with things that aren't necessarily life or death. So I've just been trying to, one, enjoy myself because it's the last month of college, but two, just also remember to get a routine of self-care down. So I've been trying to go to the gym more and just take care of my body more.
Nice. For me, this week has been really busy work-wise. This is like, for my work, our busy season, like spring rolling into summer. So this week was nuts. But nothing really new. At the time of recording this, next weekend, I have to officially start my marathon training. So that's going to be a whole thing coming up soon. But yeah, not much going on. I have about a month left until I start my internship. So I'm excited and nervous for that, just because obviously it's a new job, new setting, new people. But I'm excited because it is in what I've been studying for school, so it'll be good to start doing that. But yeah, nothing too much to report on. But movie watching wise, if you want to get into your stuff.
Yeah, let's dive into it. Let's go to Lahaini, if I pronounced that correctly. Yeah, this film just really shocked me. I obviously knew it was pretty critically acclaimed from its rating on Letterboxd and just hearing about it all the time in passing, but it blew me away. I really like the storytelling here. Obviously, black and white film, so we're not getting the most deep images here, but I really like the use of contrast, and there's a lot of deep focus pulls that we get when we just fly into the shoulders of the characters. And I really like the messaging here, and it's probably one of the most impactful final scenes I've seen from a movie, where you have the final confrontation and then obviously the clock ticking down throughout the entire movie. Just really wish I checked this out sooner, and it reminded me a whole lot of Do the Right Thing.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah, I really like it. It's been a while since I watched it, so I definitely forget some details, if I'm being honest. But I have it on Criterion, so I will rewatch it at some point for sure. What was your rating on it? I forgot to look. 4.5. Okay, so same as
I could
mine.
see that going
I think
to 5 on a rewatch.
I think I did have it at a 5 at one point. I just bumped it down just because it's been so long. But yeah, it's a good movie.
Next, let's do Stand By Me. And this goes for all of his films, but man, Rob Reiner, like, every time I watch a film of his, it just, like, I wouldn't say I go into it thinking I'm going to get let down, but I just think that watching his movies, it really shows you how knowledgeable he is about screenwriting and making sure that his message and emotions are getting relayed to the viewers. And this is a perfect example here with Stand By Me. I mean, I watched this with my roommate, and he told me all about how relatable it was to him and just how deep and layered it is. I mean, childhood has been a subject that is talked about a lot in film, but Rob Reiner here, he created something super iconic. It's almost insane how much it's not parodied but paid homage in film, such as Stranger Things. You could go down the list. You'll see
Hmm.
influences everywhere, and just another blind spot that I'm checking off here because this is just a masterpiece.
Yeah, I really like it too. Yeah, I think yeah, what you said is good. How it definitely has influenced a lot of coming of age TV shows and movies for sure. I really like I don't know if you ever seen the episode, but on Family Guy when they did the parody of this movie, it's a really funny episode.
Is that a later season episode or?
Mm, I don't know, many years ago, like probably a decade ago, but they did Stand By Me, Misery, and Shawshank Redemption all in one episode. It's really funny.
Hmm. Let's do the Mario Galaxy movie next because this one like disappointed me, and I think there'll be some good discussion here. Obviously, it's a kids movie, so I'm not gonna beat the hammer on the nail here and say that this is the worst thing I've ever seen because it's not. It's a pretty serviceable movie that you can show to your kids, but I just think that especially as a kid who grew up with the Galaxy game, I think they did not really pay the homage that I was looking for in the Galaxy adaptation, especially because of how beloved that game is and how it is just in a lot of people's hearts. And I don't really think that it lived up to the name Galaxy at all. They visit maybe 4 or 5 planets, and there's maybe one that was adapted from the game with the honeybee, but I've seen this said a lot, but it rings very true. It's that these aren't really movies, but more like 80-minute to 90-minute advertisements for the games and just the franchise. And I can see that because there isn't really too many character arcs here that stand out to me. The brothers really take a step back in this film, and again, just doesn't really. It bites off a lot more than I think it could chew. And I was really disappointed that Rosalina, who is such a huge character in Galaxy, is like relegated to being a MacGuffin in this film. She has maybe 5 minutes of screen time in this, so I don't think it's the worst thing I've seen, but the child in me was a little disappointed.
Yeah, I was never a big Mario kid growing up. The only games I played were Super Mario Bros. And Mario Kart. I never played Galaxy, so I don't really know the story, but I like the first film. I think the first film had a good story. I like how it kind of went from beginning of it was a little bit more realistic where Mario and Luigi were legit like plumbers like in like the real world, whatever, then it transitioned into like kind of the more the game world, and I think it just worked a lot better. Um yeah, they definitely take a back seat in this, and it's just I don't know. I like how you said it's kind of more of just advertisement. There wasn't really a good narrative here. It wasn't the worst thing I watched. I was I did enjoy some of it. I laughed at a couple moments, but yeah, I've already pretty much forgotten it, and it only came out like a week and a half ago. But yeah, not
Hmm.
too much here for me either.
And I'm not acting like the Mario Brothers games have been like known for their like riveting storytelling. Like you go there to play the game and like enjoy yourself and you stomp on Koopas and Goombas. But I just think that let me like I just wish we really immersed ourselves in the world here. Like I really feel like that middle act was just 40 minutes of straight nonsense. I wasn't really allowed to immerse myself in the game or the world from the game. It didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
And lastly, I'll touch on La Dolce Vita because I think this is really going to become something that I end up watching a lot in the future. And it has a lot of elements that I love in films, from Italian neorealism to just beautiful landscapes that I'm able to look at, and not a breakneck pace speed with the pacing. And I'm just allowed to live and breathe in this world. For those that don't know, this is a 3 hour plus film, so it can be a little daunting to pick up at first, but I really do think that this is something that you can watch in parts. And I've learned this term that I'm going to try and see if I can remember. I think it's called mise en abîme, which is basically the idea of a picture within a picture, or a story within a story here. And I think this film is chock full of those. And to be honest, on first watch, I did not capture each and every single one of them because there's just so much going on here. But this is a beautiful film. It's by Federico Fellini, who's just a master in Italian filmmaking. And I honestly can see myself coming back to this for months, maybe weeks at a time. Maybe not a complete full watch, but this is definitely something that I could see being played on TV back in the day, because you could take out maybe 10, 20 minutes of the film, and I feel like you have its own film in itself there. And it's just really beautiful and has a great message, and there's just lots to love about it. This is something I would absolutely recommend.
Yeah, I definitely have to get to more Fellini films. I've only seen Knights of Cabiria, which much shorter film, but I really like that movie a lot. It's like, I think I have it at a 4.5 or 4. 8.5 I really want to watch, and this is another one that I definitely have to get to. And then I think we might as well. Oh, you have seen 8.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on Criterion. I just gotta watch it. But yeah, I think we might as well do a little segment of the drama right now, while we're at it. So if you want to get into it first.
I wasn't really knowing what to expect going into this. Obviously, if you've been watching the podcast, it's been one of my more highly anticipated movies coming up. But as you said, Nick, you went in a little cautious, so I did, have some expectations that were going to be met, and I think it definitely met them and then some. I really like the acting here, the storytelling. I won't spoil the main surprise in this film, because the trailers do just such a good job at misleading the audience and the direction of where the film is going to go. And I really enjoyed I wouldn't even say it makes political commentary here, but I think it's a dilemma that hasn't really appeared in my head. And it's something very contemporary to our times, but hasn't really been talked about. So I appreciated that. And just the tension was incredible. I saw someone on, it might have been Letterboxd, they said you could cut the tension with a butter knife in this film because of how thick it is. So I really enjoyed my time. I really was impressed by Robert Pattinson here. Not to say that Zendaya didn't do good in this film, but I think he just continues to show why he is maybe a top 3, maybe even 1 actor working today.
Yeah, I thought from a filmmaking and acting standpoint, this was like probably the best of the year. I really like how well it was written. I really like the third act. I thought Pattinson and Zendaya were both equally as good. I mean, it has been out for a while. I guess since you didn't spoil it, I won't spoil it, but I think this film begs a lot of questions with obviously the subject matter of it being so extreme and uncomfortable. I think I said in my review, I think there's some scenes they do with a younger Zendaya when they like flashback to her younger self that I think I get it. It's a dark comedy, I get it, but I think some of those scenes were a little distasteful in my opinion. I get it though. It's highlighting a kid's thought process through it, and obviously kids have kind of when you're so young, you have a warped opinion on things, and that's what they showcase. But other than that, I thought it was great. Yeah, I think it's interesting because clearly the situation that happens is very extreme. But I feel like some of the other characters in the film that when they explain the worst thing they've ever done, I think you can make the argument that one of the characters, well, Alana Haim's character, what she did when she was younger, is arguably worse than what Zendaya did or what Zendaya kind of didn't do. So I think it just begs a lot of questions for you. My theater was laughing a lot, which I thought was interesting because I think, like I said, I think some of the things were funny when it was more so like the wedding. Like I think a lot of those moments were funny, but when it was Zendaya when she was like a kid, when they did the kid version, I didn't really laugh at those. I don't think those were all that funny. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you did laugh. It just certainly made me uncomfortable, but I liked it. I am happy I went in cautious about it just because I knew a lot was riding on like the quote unquote twist or not even twist, like big reveal. But it was good, and it seems like this film was doing well box office wise, which is nice to see. And both of these actors are some of my favorites, so I was happy that this movie seems to be doing good and people seem to be responding to it probably in the intended way. Like a lot of conversations have been happening about the material in it, so I was pretty happy with it. And it was filmed in Boston. I remember when they were filming it in Boston almost 2 years ago, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was nice to see when the credits rolled and made me optimistic about more filmmaking going on in our city. But okay, so real quick before we move on to Nick's recent watches, I want to go over a review of the drama here. And I'll just be reading it out loud a little bit, and I'll probably censor the person's name in this review because I don't want any flack to be going toward them. But they gave them the drama a 1 star, and let's just go into it. Actually horrible. I haven't seen a film I've disliked this much in a long time. So applauds to that. Feels like Instagram activism and not good imaging we should be relaying to audiences right now. The film actively participates in the romanticization and aesthetics of shootings the character claims to have become infringed by. Not to mention the many plot holes. Why has she not been in a relationship before at damn near 30? Where's her mom? We know nothing about the characters except their shared chemistry and a lame meet cute before the big old secret was revealed. We weren't invested enough in the characters to decide if we can forgive her. I understand the point of the movie was to ask the question if our biggest mistakes make up who we are as people, but when we know nothing about her 20s and have only seen glimpses of her adolescences, we can't forgive her as we don't know her. Also, Pattinson's character was completely justified, which is interesting because I could argue Pattinson's actions in this film were completely worse than Zendaya's actions in this film. But what do you think about this review, Nick? Do you think this is a little out there?
Well, everybody can certainly have their own opinion on a movie because art is subjective, but I think this middle paragraph here is like a little too, I would say like a little too much nitpicky and like trying to find problems. Like it says there's too many plot holes. Why has she never been in a relationship before the age of 30? They explain that pretty much. She didn't really have friends growing up. she was disconnected from people. Like that's pretty much laid out from the beginning. So if you're disconnected from people, then how the hell would you end up in a relationship? Relationships like the most intimate connection you can have with somebody. So that's pretty much explained. Where is her mom? Do we really want a whole bunch of backstory on the mom? Like it's not really about her. It like they explained that both her parents were pretty absent in her life, like in the sense that they weren't really around. That's all we really need. Like we don't really need to know much more than that. And the mom's at the wedding, so it's not like she's not in her life.
It's
So I think
also
that's
not
just like
a
a
plot
little.
hole. Like,
No, it's not. I think that's like a little too much digging. But her opinion of, this is the reveal, the school shooting type of stuff. I think if you don't like that and you think this film is like romanticizing it, I'm not gonna say you're wrong for that, but that middle paragraph I think is just kind of ridiculous, and either they weren't really paying attention while watching it, or they just, I don't know, were looking for more things to rip on. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting thing. I don't know, unless people are like extremely just like missing the point, I would get upset. But I don't think she or whoever this person is completely missed the mark on it. But I don't know. I think they have a little too many nitpicks in here.
I would say they missed the mark on it because a lot of this is seemingly picking and choosing what you want out of this film versus accepting like what the film is. Like, we know nothing about the characters before they meet. That's kind of the point of the film, is that you could meet anyone and you don't completely know their history. You know, they might withheld some information from you, but you kind of have to decide for yourself in the moment now if this person is worth talking to, if this person is changed from whoever they are 10, 15 years ago. It doesn't matter because it's about who you are now. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting movie, and I can't say that it should have been longer. I think it was the right amount of size, and I think it told the story it needed to tell. I don't think we need to completely know the entire backstory and psyche like they do in fucking Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But
Yeah, no, I think they handled giving us just enough information about Zendaya's character's backstory. Like you don't need to spend a lot of time on that. It's pretty much explained. I think that was um, done well. And like I said, I think it asked a lot of questions. Like Zendaya's character didn't actually do anything. Did she have horrible, disgusting thoughts and maybe a plan? Yeah, which is terrible. But you know, let's say she was like 15 when she did that. She's 30 in the current timeline of the movie. 15 years is a lot of time. So I don't know. Like if I was in Robert Pattinson's character situation, I'm not sure how I would handle that knowledge. It's tough to call. But yeah, I think this person missed the mark a little bit. But not to dog on them, like you said. Just I don't know.
I would
And
argue
if you don't,
Pattinson. You can go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, if you don't like something, it's fine. But yeah, that's all I had to say.
I would argue Pattinson's character is more fucked up than Zendaya's character because not only does he cheat on her the day before the wedding, but the whole wedding was just a disaster from his part. He's the man. Like, I understand that weddings are hard and there's a million things going on, including your own dilemmas if this is the person you love or not. But like, he just completely fucked it up. Like, not to get Sigma red pilled on everyone, but as a man, like, I feel like he needs help more than Zendaya's character needs help. Not saying that what she thought about doing wasn't good or like anything worthy of praise, but it seemed like she had her shit together more than Pattinson.
I think so, but I also don't think she was helping him in any like in any like real way like she should have once that information is revealed. I feel like throughout the movie she kept like kind of just brushing it under the rug while Robert Pattinson's character wanted to really talk about it, and she wasn't really diving into it too much, and she kind of was leaving him to interpret that information on his own. I do think I agree with a little bit what you said. I do think Zendaya's character does have it together really well in their adult life, a little bit more than Robert Pattinson's character, but at the same time, I think she could have helped him fully grasp and understand her thinking when she was a child a little bit better. I think she was trying to just move on, and it seemed like she was more worried about making sure the wedding didn't get fucked up than rather than making sure Charlie wasn't fucked up, if that makes any sense. But I get what you're saying too.
And that's why I really like the ending, because they can finally like meet them as who they are, which is really
Yeah.
cathartic, and it kind of circles back to the first meeting where they spill their beans.
hmm We'll talk about Spill Your Beans later when we talk about the other movie. But yeah, yeah, I'll get into some of my watches. It's been a lot. Uh, I'm not gonna go over everything. I'll pretty much just talk about the westerns I've been watching because it's been a whole lot. I tried to watch a bunch at the beginning of April, and I've certainly been knocking a bunch off. I did the whole Man with No Name trilogy, the Clint Eastwood movies. I love those. Those are had already been some of my favorite movies on the rewatch. I think I bumped the rating of all of them up. They're amazing. Let's see what else I got. I'm not gonna. Oh, this was a really cool one. Buck and the Preacher. I bought this on Criterion a few weeks ago. It's Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte. Sidney Poitier directed this and starred in it. It's really good. It deals with like the direct aftermath of the Civil War, and Sidney Poitier's character in this is obviously like a cowboy Western person, but he's also kind of like a Harriet Tubman figure. He travels a lot of freed slaves. He's trying to get them to better areas because where they're located, even after the Civil War, it's still pretty heavily like, racist and segregated, and they're trying to, still, you know, discriminate against black people. So he's trying to move large numbers of people out, and he gets encountered by like really bad rebel like Confederate cowboys. He has to deal with the Native Americans because he has to cross over their land, but obviously Native American people are very particular about their land and the rules on their land, so he has to deal with that. And it was really good. I'll definitely be rewatching this for sure since I own it. It was a really good movie. Very happy I got to it. See what else we got here. We got I'll talk about True Grit. I just watched this last night. This is directed by the Coen brothers, both of them. The stars Haley Steinfeld, Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, and Josh Brolin. And this is actually the performance that gave Haley Steinfeld her first Oscar nomination. She was 13 years old, I think, when she made this movie, and this was her first feature film. And she's amazing in it. She's like, the stuff that she has to do in this film, being that young of an age and going against these like very acclaimed actors and Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon, who she shares like the most screen time with. She does a really good job. It definitely has that like Coen Brothers flavor to it, which is fun. Yeah, it was just a really solid movie. This is one I've been wanting to watch for a very long time. I know you really like the Coen Brothers too. I think this is just a really well-made movie with really good performances. I will say though, I think Matt Damon's character and Josh Brolin's character, not that they're bad, I just don't think they had enough good material to really sink their teeth in, because both of them are great actors, but I was wanting more from them. But, Haley Steinfeld and Jeff Bridges kind of carry the movie.
I'll have to give my 2 cents on that, because those are two of my guys right there. So
Yeah. I guess I'll talk about an in-theater watch. We already mentioned the drama in Super Mario Bros., but the killer John Woo, it just got re-released in theaters. I saw it on Tuesday night. I've seen this film 3 times before I saw it in theaters the other night, but I love it. Fantastic. The same way John Woo had like that interview at the end of A Better Tomorrow, he had one for this as well, and he was just talking about how like difficult it is to film in Hong Kong when you're in the city because you need like a lot of permits and stuff. And they were talking about how one of the scenes in this movie they do a shootout on like a one of those street trolleys, and John Woo uses real guns or prop guns with blanks, so they make real noise. And when they did it, people thought it was a real gunshot, so the police got called, and they came down. But once they figured out like it was a John Woo movie and certain actors were in it, the police kind of like let them go, but they were just like, don't do that again. So that's why in this movie you get a lot of the shootouts like in the countryside of Hong Kong, and you get them in like warehouses and churches and stuff because in those places you don't need like permits and stuff like that. But I really love this movie. I've seen it 4 times now. It's one of my favorite of all time. I would say it's probably like top 3 or top 5 favorite action movies ever. And I'm going to be rewatching it to the day I die. It was really awesome seeing it in theaters. And there was a lot of people at my theater too, which was surprising because this film is like not super popular, definitely with not like the average movie person. I would say like if you're really into movies, you probably know what this is, but it was nice to see a lot of people go to watch this.
I saw it in the AMC app maybe 2 days ago, and I really, really regret not going to see it because I just looked at it and I think it's out of theaters right now, at least in my area. So,
Yeah, it's out. It was like A Better Tomorrow was only there for like 5 days or whatever, but it is on. You can now buy it and rent it on streaming. You couldn't for years. When I first watched it, I had to watch it on like Internet Archive. But now it's like on streaming and you can buy the physical media of it as well. And then what I kind of want to briefly talk about before we about to jump into the film review is last year in October, my local independent theater had their fall they call it the Fall Focus Independent Movie Festival. Sorry, I saw 7 movies last year. A couple of them were Oscar nominated, so like they're legit movies with like big name actors, big name directors. And right now, in the next 2 weeks, they're about to do their spring festival. And these films I have pulled up right now are the 5 that I'm definitely going to see. Maybe if I have more time, I'll try to check out some other ones, but I'm very excited for it. A lot of these films were just at South by Southwest, so like these are big movies, so I'm looking forward to it a lot.
I'm jealous. Film
Yeah,
festivals are
well,
really fun.
hopefully the fall focus. I think, I mean, there should be no reason why we can't both do it this year together. Later in October. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A lot of these films have some of my favorite actors in them, like Willem Dafoe. I'm seeing he's in one of the movies. Greta Lee, Seth Rogen, Edward Norton, Penelope Cruz, Olivia Wilde. There's a lot of good actors. Cooper Hoffman, who is Philip Seymour Hoffman's son. So I'm looking forward to it a lot. It should be a fun time. It's going to be a busy few days though. I think I'm seeing all 5 of these in the span of like 3 days or something like that. But I'm looking forward to it a lot. I really enjoyed the fall Focus Festival I did a couple months ago. But yeah, I think that's all I got. There's nothing too pressing I want to talk about that we haven't already. But yeah, I think we should just get in to the Lighthouse. I don't know if you want to kind of kick us off with that because this film has been in your top 4 for quite some time now, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's a very special movie because it picks up a lot of qualities and traits that I've enjoyed over the years, but I couldn't really put word to mouth on why, like some of the decisions that Eggers makes here really pulls me in. one, for instance, is the aspect ratio, which every time I watch this movie, I just completely forget that the movie is shaped like a box the entire time. So I really love black and white movies. I think it's it's a art form in itself, and it's kind of underappreciated amongst maybe our generation and the younger generations to an extent, because we grew up with screens in our face and we love flashing colors and all these bells and whistles. But once you strip those elements down, and I've talked about this to ad nauseum, once you strip those elements down, it tells a completely different picture. And it's why I really like the genre of noir, because we're looking at these very stark, contrasting images. And the way Eggers, and I don't know the name of the DP for this film, but they killed it. Um, that first shot, man, just absolutely incredible, with the waters crashing on that ship, and you can hardly see what's in front of you. And just the way that Eggers uses only three colors, black, white, and gray, is just beautiful. And he's probably, no, he is my favorite horror director. I just love his vision.
Mm. You are clicked off a letterbox, right? Sorry to interrupt, but all right. Yeah, I love this movie. Robert Eggers is climbing the ranks in kind of my all-time directors, especially the ones working today. Yeah, I first watched this movie almost 3 years ago. I think June 2023 was the first time I watched it, and I watched it. Funny enough, I watched it outside on my iPad, out back, and it was just, this movie isn't like in the traditional sense scary, but it's just, I think, scary in terms of, I won't start getting into spoilers yet, but scary in the terms of what happens to these men when they're on this island. It's just, it's craziness. And I've said it a million times how much I like actors, how much I like performances. You're not going to get a better set of dual performances in a film like you do here with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. They're just going back and forth the whole time, just going bar for bar, just, at certain moments, one of the characters has the upper hand, the next moment, the other one does. And it just kind of is a pendulum that swings back and forth between the two of them. I really love it. You were talking about the cinematography, which is top notch. It's one of the best aspects of the film, but the sound design is really good too. Like the constant horn that's blaring, like the Lighthouse horn that's constantly going. Just like the wind whistling, the water crashing throughout the film. The seagulls, whatever sound they make, it's great. I know Eggers is obviously, he's a very period piece driven director. Like I think he has said on record that he doesn't want to make a film that is older, that is like past the 1950s. So, which he hasn't even really gotten close to that at all. But he obviously likes these very distinct periods in, like in America or even international, with like obviously Nosferatu and stuff like that. But I love it. I know they filmed this film, I'm pretty sure in Maine. I kind of remember Robert Pattinson talking about how just like cold it was when they were doing it, and just, they really lived through the elements when they were making this film, which, probably is the reason why their performances are so real, because they were really going through a lot of this stuff. But I love it. I've seen it multiple times now. I have it at a 5 stars now. I bumped it up. And when I was watching it just this past night, to prep for the podcast, I was just like, this thing is freaking unbelievable. Like it's one of the best movies made in the last decade. It's great.
Mm-hmm. I put this on for my roommates because I wouldn't say they don't watch horror movies, but I would say that it's a genre that they haven't fully explored, and neither have I.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like you said earlier, like this isn't a necessarily scary movie, but it really dives into the primal fears that we have, the safety and the understand. There's a word for it. We talked about it in my film theory class. It's like the state of being when you're a small child and your brain's not fully developed, so you don't really understand what's going on around you. Cars passing by, it's like all kind of scary. So it like harkens on that fear in the sense that you don't know about your senses around you, and neither do the characters because they mention it multiple times throughout the movie. It's like we've been on here for 2 days or we've been here for months. Like
Hmm.
it's all up in the air for them. And let's just do it now because I think these two characters are brilliantly written. They're both named Thomas, which we'll get into a little bit more. But I think when you look at a cast and you see there's only two actors in the film, I think it definitely raises the bar a little bit and tells you what kind of movie you're in for. And they definitely knocked out of the park here. We have Willem Dafoe, who plays the older Thomas. I forget his last name, just off the
Thomas
top.
Wake.
Thomas Wake, and we have Thomas Winslow, who
Thomas Howard, actually.
right.
I have it pulled up. That's why I know. I'm
I think
not trying to big dog you. I just have it pulled up.
no, he lies about his identity earlier in the film, but
Yeah.
I really love their dynamic. I think it's very New England in the sense that, and not to rag on certain individuals, but I think and they explain it in the movie pretty well, when you're alone and just solely focused on your work and just you have nothing else really going for you, you really become this tiny bird that just squawks at people and just like is repressive of your own emotions and also just repressive of other people's emotions. And I think that was well explored with Defoe's character and how he kind of isolates himself in this quiet anguish. And Howard is a more troubled character than he seems on the surface, which was fun to explore throughout the movie, just exploring his identity as well as who he seems to be versus who he actually is. So I don't know if there was any moment throughout the film where you might have been rooting for one character over the other, or just what were your general thoughts while you're watching this movie unfold?
I think you definitely root for Pattinson's Thomas Howard's character, at least in the first half a lot, because on the surface, like I just wrote in my review, this movie is just completely layered, and I think on the surface layer, it's just two men who are lighthouse keepers, and Robert Pattinson's character is obviously the one that's kind of like getting the shit work, like the shit, just like all the bad, just kind of clean up work, and you feel bad for the guy because obviously he's probably not getting paid all that well. Obviously, this job is very grueling. I don't know the year that this is depicting. I probably should have pulled that up, had that information. But obviously, like bare bone, there's no technology. This is like all bare bones, completely manual labor, and everything he's doing. So you feel bad for the guy because it just seems like Willem Dafoe's character is a lazy old man and that he kind of just recycles like assistants, because obviously they talk about how who was like the second lighthouse keeper before me, like Thomas Howard asked that question, and obviously the initial plan is just for him to be there for 4 weeks, and then he'll get picked up and probably go to a different lighthouse or do a different job or something. So you do feel bad for him. At least I did for a good amount of the runtime, but then I feel like you start to get this switch, which is really initiated by Thomas Howard being so curious and kind of greedy about the fact that Thomas Wake, Willem Dafoe's character, is the only one that can go up in the lighthouse, like where the actual light is. And that's the only job that Thomas Wake has. That's the only thing he does. He sleeps through the whole day while Pattinson's character's doing all the work, and then when after they're done eating dinner, when it's like the graveyard shift, that's when he goes up to the lighthouse, and you see Pattinson's character. I think he would have slowly lost his mind anyway, just doing the work and being there. But this is where he really starts to like hallucinate and have all these thoughts because he's just so curious of why the hell Defoe's character is so absorbed by the light and everything. And I don't know if you want to dip into it now, but like the Greek mythology that is kind of behind this film, I think is really done well and interesting. Obviously, you have like the mermaid stuff, which is like, you know, if you want to believe it's real or whatever, that's on you. But I think like Defoe's character is obviously depicting Protus, who is like a shape shifting sea god who is an old man who, you know, is very like he's kind of a trickster. He's kind of stuck in his ways. And then you obviously have Pattinson's character, who is like probably the biggest depiction of Prometheus, like a moral man who is literally trying to steal the light from a god and trying to use it for the betterment of himself. And you just see kind of how that narrative plays, which the first time I watched this film, I didn't pick up on that type of stuff. I think the ending shot of the film really depicts the Prometheus aspect of the story. But yeah, I definitely didn't pick up on that the first time. But this, like I said, this film is just so layered, and you can kind of take it as deep or maybe not as deep as you want it, as you want to.
Yeah, I like how you said that. I'm a huge fan of films that just allow you to pick your own interpretation as well as just offer you a dozen others. But like you said, there's the Proteus and Prometheus interpretation. And I've also seen interpretations where uh, Pattinson's character and Defoe's character are one and the same, experiencing this almost, what's the word here? Uh, it's between heaven and hell.
Purgatory.
Yes, it's his own personal purgatory. And I won't go too much into it because you can watch a million explained videos online. But it kind of just goes into Pattinson's backstory as a character about how he's a lumberjack. And it's implied that he had murdered someone using that axe, which he does later to Thomas. Jeez, I'm blanking on the name again.
Thomas Wake.
Yeah. So another big clue is that yes, they share the same name, and it kind of shows how they go to this solitary place, this lighthouse, where his life has been dominated by sin. And if we want to go into Christianity and religion a little more, when your life is dominated by that presence, you isolate yourself, you become prideful, which Defoe's character is full of, as well as Pattinson's to an extent. And you could argue that the light at the very top of the lighthouse, which is so sacred and guarded, is because it's the embodiment of sin, which Defoe's character is living a life of sin. So that's why he guards the lighthouse with such intensity. And when Pattinson finally opens that hatch where the light is sitting, it looks painful, but it also looks like very pleasurable to him until he starts, rapidly screaming and twisting and convulsing. So that's one interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a big reason why I can always come back to this film, because I'm always going to pick up on something new. And to go at your Prometheus interpretation, I don't know how much you know about the punishment he ends up receiving, but he has like a crow sent to eat at his flesh all day, and then when the sun rises again, he's healed, and that same crow comes back and is pecking at him, which is similar to the ending, obviously, with Pattinson being just eaten by the same bird that he murdered earlier. And they explain that the birds contain the souls of dead sailors. And to go back to the purgatory theory, you could argue that's how many times he's been there. just stuck in his
Mm-hmm.
ways and unafraid to confront his shadow self, which could be considered Defoe's character. All the wrongdoings that he's done, all the things that he's repressing, and everything that he's hiding within himself. So, just very layered and deep storytelling here. It goes 8, 9 layers deep.
Yeah, for sure. I like how you said that. Yeah. Um, Two kind of side tangents, but they relate to it. I think the movie Train Dreams that just came out last year depicts the life of like a lumberjack and that lifestyle. And I think watching that movie really made me understand where Pattinson's character was coming from, because that life and that work is very hard, but it's very uncertain. Like it's not a guaranteed job. It's the pay is unstable. It's hard working conditions, and very much how they lose their minds on the Lighthouse. A lot of men were losing their minds, like when they were in the woods and doing all that type of stuff. So that really kind of like gave me a deeper level of understanding from Pattinson's character's perspective. And also, the second thing I kind of want to mention is I really love the quote in Oppenheimer when it's the beginning of the movie, and I'll just read the quote exactly. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to man. For this he was chained to a rock and tortured for eternity. Obviously, that's like perfectly depicted here, but I think it goes into the thing that Pattinson's character said. He was one of the dinners that he has with Defoe's character. He's talking about, you know, he doesn't really, he can't find like a stable line of work, and he just like he kind of wants all these not riches, but like he said he kind of wants to just like live on his own and no man can tell him anything, and he wants to be like, you know, isolated and happy and all these stuff. And he's like, he's so sick and tired of like these bullshit jobs he has to do, and it's just like it's not fulfilling him, and he's not reaping any rewards from them. And I feel like that really connects to the Prometheus thing. He just wants to like, he wants his one big job or moment to steal something so that he can, you know, live his life in flourishment for the rest of his life. And I think that's really showcased throughout this film. And I think they do, like Eggers is, I think him and his brother both wrote this screenplay, and they both of them read it and showcased it so well through so many events in this. Yeah, and obviously how you just said all the layers that it goes into. It's hard to like articulate certain things, but it is done so unbelievably well. Like there's some films that hold your hand through stuff, and it's like, all right, let us think for ourselves. I think this film does it toes the line of both of those good. Like you can make your own interpretations, but there are some things that are like clearly spelled out, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I really wonder what inspired Eggers and his brother to write this, because a lot of the emotions in this film are just so incredibly, and I'm going to emphasize this word, deep, because just the amount of weight that this person Thomas is carrying on his shoulders in this purgatory wherever he is, it's a very fucked up place to be in, to be straight up. And I think I just really wonder what inspired him to write this. I know he's definitely a visual thinker just from watching his movies, and I have not read the screenplay, but I can only imagine how specific you must get to end up with a film like this. And it's something that I aspire to, you know, write on the same level of one day. Not saying that I am in a state of paranoia and like, dang, I need to feel that emotion and like just juice me up and like make me miserable for however long I need to finish a script. But
Yeah.
it's very powerful, and David Lynch kind of talks about it a lot on his book, How to Catch a Fish. And it's just hanging on to this idea and remembering that idea and writing it down and making sure it's completely captured in its entirety. It's almost therapeutic.
Yeah. Yeah, I also kind of on this rewatch, I think this film was like a big kind of metaphor for guilt as well. How you were saying it, I think Defoe's character is very prideful, and he goes into a little bit of some of his character's backstory, how he said he's been on this rock for the last 13 Christmases. And then Pattinson's character asks him, like, were you ever married? Do you have kids? And he briefly says, like, yeah, he was once married, but I think within like the first couple years of him being on that lighthouse, like his wife wasn't having it anymore, and obviously he wasn't part of his family's life. So I think he obviously, I would hope most people when they go to work and everything, they treat it with, some pride, and obviously you want to do a good job at your job. But I think there's definitely that level where you can step over it and it becomes maybe a little too much, and you get blinded. And I think that's what happens to Dafoe's character, and he gets so prideful about what he does, and I think he's full with a lot of guilt and regret in his life, and I feel like he really takes it out on other people. And then Pattinson's character is definitely full of guilt, and in the sense that he kills or initiated killing that man in the when he was a timberman, and he obviously absorbs his identity. That's why he was going by the name Ephraim Winslow for a little bit of the film. I think he's immensely guilty that he stole that man's life, and I think him stealing the identity was kind of a symbolism for him of like trying to make his name and his memory go on. So I think both of these men are like filled with a lot of guilt and regret.
And just penance, this self-punishment. And I won't name any names here, but I've definitely been around some people who are quite like Defoe's character, in the sense that they're very deflective and they don't really show their true colors until they're drunk or like intoxicated or just whatever the situation calls for it. And they really repress themselves and they're really lost in these thought patterns and cycles. And it's really hard to witness and just be a part of. And I think you really emphasize with, not emphasize, you're very empathetic with Pattinson's character in that situation, because there's nothing that you can really tell this person to mend the situation or to make them realize their own actions. It really has to come from themselves. And I think that was demonstrated pretty well here.
Yeah. I do want to say too, obviously this film was like very heavy topics, serious film, like a very dramatic film, but it does make me laugh a lot. There's a lot of funny moments and scenes. Like I love their drunk scenes are hilarious, especially towards the end, where they really get drunk, where they find that case of alcohol like that they had buried under the lighthouse, and they drink like almost every bottle, and they're like in the house dancing and singing songs and like throwing up, and it's just ridiculous. And I really like the scene where Pattinson's character like kind of snaps a little bit. He's like
the monologue.
He's like, I just want to. Well, in this moment, he doesn't really. That scene's funny, but I'm thinking of a different one where he's just talking about like how he just wants a steak, and he's so sick of Willem Dafoe's character's cooking. He's like, you're not fond of me lobster, and then Dafoe goes on a huge rant, and then Pattinson's just like laying on the ground looking up at him. He's like, fine, I'm a fan of your cooking. He's like, I like your lobster. And then it just cuts to a different scene. I think it's really funny. But Pattinson's rant, his monologue is really funny when he's like, I'm sick of your farting. I'm sick of your...
That's what I was thinking of. Your goddamn farts.
Yeah, that one's hilarious.
Fuck your farts.
Yeah, that one's really funny. And seeing some interviews of Barbara Pattinson too, because I've seen hours upon hours of his interviews when he was talking about the Lighthouse, just like how hard it was from a filmmaking standpoint, and like how cold it was, and the water and all that type of stuff. But he said kind of how in the movie Dafoe and Pattinson's character, they start off very like just a working relationship, and then they kind of form a little bit of a friendship. Then it obviously gets depleted at the end of the film. But Pattinson said that's kind of how Willem Dafoe and him were working in the beginning. In the beginning, they would pretty much just show up on the location and just film and not really talk to each other outside of like filming. But then he said maybe like within a few weeks or however long they shot this film, they started to develop a friendship, and they would like talk after work, and they would talk in between scenes, which I think is really funny, and I think it actually works really good for the film as well.
Yeah, that must have been really fun to film. Well, maybe not because of just like how much is being asked out of them, but it must have been a fun experience.
From an artistic standpoint, probably.
But this is definitely a favorite of mine. When I think of the best movies I've ever seen, it might not be what comes to mind, but I think my favorites on my Letterboxd page just really symbolize what I kind of look for, and just the, I guess, different archetypes of films that I like to watch. Obviously, something very deep that goes beyond, what traditional stories will go for. But I think this one has a lot of atmospheric elements to it, which is something that I deeply enjoy when the artist behind the film can just fully plug me into a world, a realm, a smell, an aroma, anything. So that's something that I really enjoy it just as a student and as a screenwriter.
Mm-hmm. And not to touch on Eggers' filmography too much, because maybe in the future that he would be somebody we could do a spotlight on, maybe after his new film comes out later this year. But
I'm down for that.
I think this film, compared to his other four features, I think you would think it would be like a slow burn movie, like maybe a drag, because it's really just two guys talking to each other the whole movie. But I think the pacing of this film and how it just, you sink deeper and deeper into it is done so well. I will say, out of his films, I think sometimes the pacing can be a little shaky. I think in The Northman, there's certainly, I love The Northman, it's a great movie, but I think there's certainly moments where it gets a little too slow for me. And I know that's like a weak argument or standpoint to have, but I just feel like it just gets broken up. And even in Nosferatu is 5 out of 5 perfect for me. It's my favorite Eggers, but there is, and maybe just because I'm so used to the story of Orlok and Dracula, and maybe just because in my head, like, I know it so well, there are a couple sequences in Nosferatu where I think it just gets a little, I don't know, it just doesn't flow all the way for me. But I think in The Lighthouse, from start to finish, it's executed perfectly. There's no wasted movements. There's no wasted dialogue. So
I just rewatched Nosferatu, and I definitely would say that's probably my biggest knock against it. It's a really beautiful film, really well told. I really enjoy the ending, but I just think we're not really allowed to, pace ourselves through the ending. I feel like it's really rushing itself to get over with. I really enjoy the ending. I think it's dramatic the way it ends, and just how the conclusion is just very not conclusive. Like, it's not satisfactory for the characters whatsoever, but it is for the audience. But that's a good point. I just lost my train of thought. I really enjoyed Nosferatu. I'm really glad I gave it a rewatch.
I'm happy to.
I'll let you know if it comes back to me, but I really enjoy his filmography. Definitely someone that we should tackle in a director spotlight. And
I think after Werewolf we should, for sure, which that's months away, but I think that would be the good point to do it.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on most stuff. There are, like I said, there are really funny moments of this that I really like. I think maybe stuff that I think maybe would have been cooler to expand on is maybe just...
It just came to me.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
It's more on Nosferatu. I think that, especially after watching Bram Stoker's Dracula, I do think that the romance between Orlok and Lily Rose Depp's character could have used just a couple more scenes. And I have not seen the extended
Agree.
cut, but I do think after witnessing that interpretation of Dracula, I think it's really important to hammer home, how much of a, for lack of a better term, lover boy he is.
Yeah, I agree. And Orlok and Dracula are very different, but the story is pretty much the same. And that even when I watched it in theaters and even on my rewatches now, I think hate to compare, but if you are going to compare the two, I think Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder, their love story and connection is stronger than Lily Rose Depp and Bill Skarsgård for sure. But the extended cut of Nosferatu, there's only a few stuff that gets extended, and none of it is involving Lily Rose Depp and Bill Skarsgård. It doesn't add anything to them, so you're not really missing anything on that. But what I was just going to mention is in The Lighthouse, I think it would have been, obviously, I think this film it excels that it is a two-man crew, but I think it would have been interesting to maybe see, maybe in the beginning or maybe the end of like, I forget what they call it, but like whoever comes and checks on them or drops off their supplies. I think it would have been interesting to see maybe somebody that's like higher up than Willem Dafoe come in and talk to him, because I would have liked to seen Willem Dafoe's character's personality to somebody that was maybe in charge of him or ranking higher than him or like checking in on him, because obviously Willem Dafoe has to report everything that happens on the island and like their maintenance and all that, and that like logbook he has. And I think it would have been interesting to maybe see him interact with whoever that logbook gets checked by. I think that would have been a cool aspect to include, but that's just me kind of adding more to it. I don't think the film needed that. I just think it would have been maybe interesting to see that.
And I don't think films can be perfect. When I say a perfect film, I think it just checks all the boxes I'm looking for. And to go back to my roommate's experience, I think a common complaint with them was that often it felt like they were waiting for something to happen, but ultimately nothing really did. But I think that really kind of takes away from the idea and element of suspense, this anticipation of something happening. And then when nothing ends up happening, I think it really reflects the just futility of it all, and just shows you, at least from my interpretation, the purgatory inside Thomas's head of just him failing to, move on from whatever demons he's fighting.
Yeah. I think that he does the tension really well, and he does multiple scenes of this where Pattinson's character is looking up at the lighthouse while Dafoe is in there. There's like two of them where Dafoe is outside the lighthouse and he's just looking down, which are really creepy, like intense. And then there's one where Dafoe is in the lighthouse and you see him like standing like this naked, and Pattinson's character is looking up at him. And then you see one of them where Pattinson goes up the stairs and he's looking through the hatch and he can hear Dafoe's character like speaking to himself. And then you see like that big tentacle just like go by the screen. And I think those four scenes, they don't like lead to anything. Like the next scene that comes after them is like cut to the next day. But I think those moments put so much like thought. And I remember on my first watch of watching it, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, what are they building to? And I think that tension building and suspense is really executed well.
Absolutely. Just a pleasure every time I get to watch any of his films in general, but I really enjoyed it this second time, and I honestly wasn't sure if it would stay at 5 for me, but it definitely did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have on The Lighthouse. If there's anything you want to touch on before we move on, I don't want to skip through it. All right. Yeah, we love it. Great movie. I'm sure we'll be rewatching that movie many, many more times, but we have two things to close out the episode. So first one is kind of how we did last week with the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I thought since we have two premier great actors in The Lighthouse that we're talking about, I thought it would be good to do a Pattinson Dafoe film draft. Same style we did last week. Yeah, we'll just go. You want to go back and forth or the snake style like we did before?
I like the snake style.
Okay. Do you want first pick or do you want second pick? If you get second pick, that means you get back to back.
I want the second pick because I have a strong feeling of what your first pick is going to be.
Mm-hmm. And this is the thing about this draft that I think is going to be tough because there's certainly films that both of them have that are my favorite films of all time. But I'm kind of towing the line if I want to go more performance-based or film-based. But I think for the first one, I think I have to go with, I'm guessing what you think I'm going with, which is Fantastic Mr. Fox. I will say, though, Dafoe is very good in this movie as the rat. I think his
That's not what I think you're going to go for.
Oh, really? I think his voice acting in Fantastic Mr. Fox is great. He's actually, like, the rat character is one of my favorite characters in the movie. Very funny.
All right, since Nick's not going to pick it, and then I'm going to crush his heart, I'm going to go with the Batman.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah, I mean, I knew it probably wasn't going to fall back to me, but I can live with it.
And unless I'm missing something here, I'll go with the Dafoe film. I'm going to pick The Florida Project. Just huge Sean Baker fan. I'd love to do director spotlight on him one day on the channel, but this movie is just incredibly impactful to me, and I love the role he plays here. I don't think he really plays a huge amount of roles that are just so based in reality as this movie is, but he was really admirable in this film, and I think it's something that he doesn't typically play.
Yeah, if you weren't going to pick the Florida Project there, I was going to sneak that.
Yeah.
Even though I know how much you love it. Yeah, Willem is so good in that. There are certainly a decent amount of films from both of them that I know you haven't seen yet. I think I'm just going to try to wait on those a little bit. What I'm picking next, though, which I think is my favorite performance out of both of their films, is Good Time, Robert Pattinson. This was the film that made me go, okay, Pattinson is like my favorite actor working today. Obviously, a Safdie brothers film. Pattinson is like on screen for 85% of this movie. He is phenomenal in it. His accent, the Brooklyn, New York accent he does is great. You know, dyeing his hair bleach blonde for it is really cool. Next, I think I'm going to go Willem. And I'm just going to take it now. And I think this I hope you agree with this. I think this should kind of take up all his performances as his character, but I'm just going to say Spider-Man 1, but I think that should take up all the Spider-Man movies. I don't think you should be allowed to get a different one down the line.
That's fair.
All right, yeah. So Spider-Man as, obviously, Norman Osborn, just super iconic Green Goblin. I think he's one of the better MCU villains.
I was really hoping you didn't pick Good Time because it was definitely going to be the pick.
If you're taking no. If you got Batman, I was picking Good Time. You weren't getting both.
I'm going to go with The Lighthouse just because it's still on the table. And I'll go with the drama. Just because my first 4 picks have started with the word "the." I don't know why I did that. But.
And you thought Pattinson was the best performance out of the drama too, right? You just said that, right?
Easily.
Yeah. I think next I'll probably go. I'll go Willem. I'm gonna go Poor Things. He doesn't have a huge role in this, but he kind of plays a Dr. Frankenstein-esque character. And I think the scenes he has with him and Emma Stone are magnificent. They're really, really good. And then I think next, I'm pretty sure you haven't seen this, but I think I'm going to go Wild at Heart. David Lynch movie. And Dafoe plays a really despicable character. The character's name is Barbie Peru. I'm pretty sure he's like a hitman pimp. Um, if you've seen the film or if you've seen pictures of his character, he looks like super gross. Like he just looks like a gross, grimy guy. But Dafoe is really good in this performance.
American Psycho, and I'm not the biggest fan of this film. And honestly, I probably should rewatch this, but I'm gonna go with Grand Budapest Hotel.
Hmm. You weren't a big fan on it. You said. I thought you really liked it.
I think it's good for sure, but it just did not pull me in at the rate I was expecting to, and how much love I've seen for that film.
Hmm. Um, I think next I'm gonna go another Willem Dafoe. I'm gonna go. This is another film watched on Letterboxd. Very early Letterboxd days. Mississippi Burning. It's him and Gene
Mm-hmm.
Hackman. They're both playing these kind of cops or private detectives that are. What am I doing? That are. They go to this town where the Ku Klux Klan is like very active, very relevant, and they're kind of there to, get a grasp on it and trying to. I think they're not infiltrating, but they're trying to obviously get rid of them. But there's only two of them, and I kind of forget how it goes. But Willem Dafoe's really good in it, and from what I remember, I think his character is a morally gray character. Like he definitely doesn't agree with them, but I don't think he is fully, you know, against them. If that makes any sense, like he's not really trying to do too much to upset them. From what I remember, it's been a long time since I watched it, but he's very good in it.
For sure.
Next I'm gonna go Born on the 4th of July, another Defoe movie. This is a Vietnam movie where Tom Cruise is the main character, but Defoe's character is somebody that he served along with, and Defoe's character very much doesn't like the way that America was treating, the war vets after the Vietnam War. So I think he goes back to Vietnam or back to somewhere else and decides to live there, and he kind of tries to get Tom Cruise to move out there with him, and he kind of corrupts Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise's character turns into like a drug addict with him, and it's really crazy. It's a war movie, but there's not really that much war aspects in it.
Interesting. I'm looking at your Fantastic Mr. Fox pick, and I know Dafoe voiced the character in that film, so I'm going to pick another animated film that he voiced in. I'm going to go with Finding Nemo, and this is a film that I have not watched in a very long time, but I think upon rewatch, and I don't say this often, I think I would cry because just how emotional the journey is with Marlin and his son Nemo, and I really just adore everything about that film. And next, I'll go with Nosferatu. I don't think Dafoe has the biggest role in this movie, but I think he's incredibly versatile, and I really enjoy. Uh, I wouldn't say bravado, but definitely the preacher voice that he gives off in this film. I think that's not something he does very often either.
Hmm. All right, next I'm gonna go back to Pattinson. I'm gonna go Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is actually my least favorite Harry Potter film. Still a 5 out of 5, but it is my least favorite. But Pattinson is only in this film, and he doesn't have a ton of scenes, but he definitely makes a good impact on the story and on the movie. And next, I was just saving this. Obviously, I was going to pick it, but I know you haven't seen it yet, so I knew it would be safe, is Tenet. He's amazing in Tenet. He plays Neil, the guy that kind of knows everything that's going on, and he really is the right-hand man to John David Washington's character, and them two are perfect in this movie together. Really, really, this is like Good Time and Tenet were the two performances that made me love Robert Pattinson.
Number 9, I have two Wes. Well, 9 and 10, I have two Wes Anderson films. Number 9, I have Asteroid City, and number 10, I have The Finishing Scheme. Um, I think Wes Anderson just and one of those directors that loves using the same actors, and I think Dafoe is just an incredibly versatile actor. I don't really completely remember him in Asteroid City, but that's one film that I think about often, whether or not I think it is better than it actually is, because it's a very on the surface movie in the sense that what you're seeing on screen is literally what you're seeing on screen, but I think it's just an incredibly subtle film. So that's something that I'm going to have to, think back upon and rewatch.
Mm-hmm. And my last pick is another Wes Anderson film as well, The Life Aquatic of Steve Zissou. This film, from what I understand, Willem Dafoe, I'm pretty sure he joined the film very late. Not late, like they hadn't started shooting yet, but I think he was one of the last people cast. And he is phenomenal in this film. He does such a good job. What's his character's name? Is Klaus. Yeah, his character's name is Klaus, and he's very funny. He has like this very particular accent. And I think obviously he's been in a lot of Wes Anderson movies, Willem Dafoe. Stuff like Asteroid City and The Phoenician Scheme, it's not like a prevalent role. But in stuff like The Life Aquatic and Grand Budapest Hotel, he has much more, bigger prevalent roles. And I think The Life Aquatic's a really underrated film and a really underrated Dafoe performance. I think in a couple months' time, though, I'm pretty sure The Odyssey and Dune Part 2 would probably be on this list, but obviously they just haven't been released
Part
yet.
3.
Part 3, yeah, sorry. Yeah. I think those would definitely probably make the list if they were out, but we'll have to wait down the line. No Twilight for me, though. As much as I don't hate those movies, but I wasn't putting Twilight on here.
I'm going to have to watch those one day, and it's going to be a really interesting watch to see what I think about it.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten a lot better since those days, I'll say that. But next, so I took inspiration from this from one of the podcasts I watch, the Real Talk podcast. They do a lot of stuff like this. So I'll kind of explain it quick. Hopefully our webcams aren't blocking it. I don't know if you need time to set that up, or is it good?
We're good.
Okay. So this is pretty much a game for you, Jthon. Since I already know what these films are, I'm not going to be participating, but so these are the top 25 most popular films of the decade to the 2020s according to Letterboxd. They're ranked from most popular to least popular, the number 1 to 25 slot. And there's no time limit on this. There's no amount of strikes. I just want to see if you can get all 25. I think once it starts to get down to the nitty gritty, I'll give you clues to see if you can try to get them. But I will say most of these movies you have seen, and the ones that you haven't seen, you're definitely aware of them. So I don't think there's really any on here that you've never heard of. I know there are some you haven't seen, but like I said, you should know what they are. And I think you'll do a good job of this. But like I said, these are the most popular, not the best rated, not the most reviews. Just in terms of Letterboxd popularity of like the most watched, these are the top 25. So you don't have to go in order. Just whatever comes to mind, just rifle them off, and I'll tell you if they're wrong or not. I'll keep your strike marks down here just to keep. But like I said, there's no time limit or whatever. I just want to see how many you can get without, me giving too many clues.
Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna go with this is based off watched movies on Letterboxd. I'm gonna go with Oppenheimer, Barbie.
Yep. So I'll reveal, and Barbie is the number 1, for sure, and then Oppenheimer we have at 1, 2, at the 4th spot. So yep, those for sure.
I'm gonna go with Top Gun Maverick.
Let's see. Top Gun Maverick is not on the top 25. I know it's up there, but it did not make the top 25. Yeah.
In that case, Dune Part 2.
Yep, Dune Part 2 is 4 down from Oppenheimer. Yep, so Dune Part 2 is definitely on there.
I'm going to go with Wicked.
Yep, Wicked is on there for sure. I don't know what number it is. I think this is number 21, I think. Yep, Wicked.
I'm going to go with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yep, absolutely. Right under Dune Part 2.
I'm going to go with Spider-Man Far From Home.
You mean No Way Home?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, Far From Home was just outside 2019, but yet No Way Home is on here.
K-pop Demon Hunters.
No K-pop Demon Hunters. I think it's just a little. I think it's just a little too new, but it probably will.
Fair enough.
It probably will be on here. Yeah.
This one's gonna be kind of out there. I'm gonna go with Saltburn.
Saltburn. Let's see. You are correct. Yeah, that's a very good pick. That was very popular on Letterboxd when that dropped. Saltburn is on it, and there's more films like that. Like some you maybe wouldn't think of right off the bat.
I'm missing 2 big ones. Then the top 3. I'm trying to think of those.
There's definitely some from last year. Some big ones from 2025 that you're missing out on for sure.
All right. In that case, I'm gonna go with Sinners in One Battle After Another.
Yep, Sinners is number 2, which I was shocked. It's crazy that that's already up there. And then you said One Battle. Yep, that is on the list. I'm pretty sure it should be right here. Yep, One Battle After Another. There's more 2025s on there too, surprisingly.
Okay. Begonia. Definitely, right?
Not Begonia, no.
Wow.
You're doing good, but no, not Begonia.
Let's see. This is kind of out there too. I'm going to go with Poor Things.
Poor Things is right under One Battle After Another. Great. And I forgot I should be taking Counter Your Strikes, but forget that. Doesn't matter. But yeah, Poor Things.
I want to say Anora. I really do.
Yep. Absolutely right. And Nora's right under Wicked. Yep.
That number 3 is going to bother me.
Number 3 was from 2022. I'll tell you that. And you have seen it.
I've seen this movie. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
going to go with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Thank Christ.
Yeah.
Let's see. What are?
There's a bunch on here that you've seen. Still that you haven't revealed. A bunch.
That doesn't help. Let's see. I'm trying to think. 2020's recent.
Good amount of franchises left. Some of them are just kind
Despicable Me 4.
No. I don't
Minions
think.
2.
No, I don't think there's any. There's no more animation. I think the only animation was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Big franchises left though. Couple big franchises.
I'm gonna go with Superman.
Yep, Superman is on the list right under Across the Spider-Verse.
I'm gonna go with the Batman.
Yep, Batman's right above Dune Part 2.
Okay, my goal is to get the left column out the way.
Mm-hmm. I think the one that's right under Oppenheimer, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it is from 2024. And the one right above the Batman, you definitely have seen. Part of a franchise.
Fuck. Can I ask you a question? Is this a Marvel film?
No, not on the left side, no. There is a Marvel film on the list, but not on the left side.
Okay. A franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Mario movie.
No, that is a good... No more animated. There's no animated left, but that is a good pick. And when I mean franchise, don't think of like MCU franchise. Like it's technically a franchise because there's been... Yeah. It's not as big as MCU.
I really doubt it's on the left side, but I'm gonna go with Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbird, and whatever the rest of that is.
No, good. That is a good choice, but no, I think that was like in the top 30 or 40.
I'm really trying to think like Letterboxd. What are like Gen Z's watching?
There's two big films from 2024. One of them we saw together in theaters. There's another big film from last year that you haven't named yet.
Challengers.
As well.
Challengers.
Yep, Challengers is right above Saltburn. Yep.
Okay.
Another big film from last year that we both saw together as well.
Not The Brutalist, is it?
No. Mm-mm. And when I mean last year, I mean 2025.
It came out in 2025?
Yep. We saw it together. In
I'm
theaters.
gonna go with Godzilla -1.
No. Good. Another good pick. That's definitely up there, but no, not in the top 25.
Shit.
I think the left side, forget that for a little bit. We can come back to that. This middle row, there's a lot of movies that you've seen that are big movies from the last like 2 years.
I'm completely blanking.
All right, so this top one right here in the middle row, we saw together, 2025 movie. The one under Saltburn, big 2025 movie. It won an Oscar for acting performance this year at the Oscars. And then the one right above One Battle, 2024 movie that you recently just rewatched.
Weapons.
Yep, Weapons is right under Saltburn, yep. This movie highlighted.
I recently rewatched this. Nosferatu.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It has to be.
Yep.
And
right under Poor Things, 2025 movie. I want to say you didn't see it, but it won a lot of awards at the Oscars this year. 2025 movie.
I'm gonna go with Sentimental Value.
No. It won multiple awards at the Oscars. Not the big awards, not like Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay,
Right.
but it won 3 awards though.
It's not Train Dreams, is it?
No. It's a good guess, but no.
Let's see, what else?
It's probably the most iconic one of the most iconic fictional characters. One of the actors is from a TV show that he's most notably known from a TV show that you've seen, HBO TV show.
You're really killing me with these hints, like, God.
Because I don't want to reveal too much. I want you to still.
I like do trivia now, too, so it's like I should be firing off on these, but it's a remake. It's a massive character that everyone knows.
Yes, yep.
It came out last year. It won multiple Oscars. So I'm going to go with Frankenstein.
You're correct. Yep, Frankenstein. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing I'm not being timed.
This next one is a 2022 movie with very iconic actor, very good actor in the leading role, and a very good...
Killers of the Flower Moon.
No, that was 2023, but your head was in the right place. The actress in this is, I wouldn't say up and coming, but she's very much in the prime of her career right now. And I'll say this movie takes place in one location, kind of on an island, and it's labeled a horror, but it's not really a horror. It's very popular on Letterboxd. 2022 went crazy. You've definitely seen it. If I'm not, I can check right now if you've seen it. I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
She's stuck on an island.
Well, they're on an island. They're kind of stuck, but yes, you have seen it. And you've seen it since having Letterboxd. You actually just watched this movie for the first time. You watched it for the first time this past summer. I'll say this, the third billed actor is Nicholas Hoult. And it's not Mad Max.
Furiosa.
No. Think Furiosa, though. Who's in Furiosa? Think that's a clue.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, so think she's the woman character in this that has a big role. She's the second billed actor.
Oh, my God.
We can come back to it, too, because I think these ones on the left...
It's not Heretic.
No.
I did see that this summer, though.
You're in the right mind space. For sure.
I give up.
We can come back to it. You'll get it, I'm telling you.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
You'll get them. These next three on the left. This one that's highlighted, MCU movie. That's all I'll tell you. You can get it easy.
Thunderbolts.
Nope. But it's MCU. Big MCU movie that just happened a couple of years ago.
Guardians 3.
Nope.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Nope.
Doctor Strange. MOM.
No. This character's first time in the MCU. Big Marvel character. Nope.
Is he the lead?
Yep. He's the lead with somebody else. Another iconic Marvel
Deadpool
character.
and Wolverine.
Yep.
Okay.
This movie, I'll just say it's a Robert Pattinson movie, so I'll give you that for this one. That's the only clue I'm going to give you. Nope. That wasn't 2020s.
I was just looking at his filmography.
Neither of us just picked this in the draft either, which I don't know why I missed it. Why did I not watch it? Oh, you haven't seen this, but you're very aware of it. It's in your watch list.
I give up.
Nah, you'll get it. I don't know. I should have drafted that one. I'm going to give you a few more clues because you're going to kick yourself about some of these. All right, we'll leave these two alone. This one right here you need to get. 2025 movie that we watched together. Massive movie.
Wait, say it again.
2025 movie we watched together in theaters. Massive movie of last year.
Fuck. What is it?
Like, arguably the biggest campaign for a movie of last year.
Marty Supreme.
Yep.
Okay.
I think this
you
one...
You had me at Pattinson. That was a bad clue.
I didn't give Pattinson for that clue. I gave it for a different one.
You said he was in it, but like...
Not in that movie. I was talking about a different one.
Show me the 5 I'm missing.
You just want to see him?
Yeah.
All right, this one I didn't think you were going to get. It's The Substance, 2024. I don't think you saw that. This one you're going to kick yourself. I said this was part of a franchise, big movie. Dune, just the first Dune. Oh, my
God. I thought that was like 2019 for some reason.
This was the 2022 movie with Anya Taylor-Joy that you just watched over the summer, The Menu.
Fuck. That was bad.
This Pattinson movie, for some reason I thought you watched it, but you haven't. Mickey 17 just came out last year. And then this last one I didn't really give a clue on it, anything, but it is Glass Onion, which you recently just watched not too long ago.
I thought about that when you said Island. I'm like, wait.
But I was talking about The Menu. I wasn't even getting there yet, but yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad. You got 20 out of 25, so that's not bad.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. I definitely want to... I'll think of some more ideas to do with these down the road, but yeah, I think that's all we got for episode 25. Yeah, I don't got much more to say if you want to send us off.
Yeah, guys, just take care of yourself. You know where to find us by now. We're on 3 platforms now. Recommend us a movie. We're always down to watch something that you guys want us to watch, and have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.